consuming the forest cover in the region. The mismanagement of the forest, according to Bajo, is a concern that needs immediate redress. Minister Bajo also called for greater unity in the party, reminding the people that the APRC was founded on the basis that it can meet the aspiration of all Gambians irrespective of their origin. Bajo called on them to be open to newcomers and also to support those entrusted the mantle to steer the affairs of the party. Earlier, one of the most recognized opposition sympathizers in the region, Branding Jaliba, walked into the meeting venue in green, an apparent show-off following his recent political U-turn. He carried along with him a substantial number of people to prove he has joined the APRC for good. The issue of security was also brought up before the president, but with the advent of the police intervention unit, the incidents have indeed been fewer. The only request was for more mobility to ensure timely response to sporadic attacks. The most recent, the constituency chairman for Central Badibu Alhaji Usainu Fall said, was about 3 days ago. The president proceeded to the commercial center for the Fenyelid Monday evening. Thousands welcomed him at the outskirts of the town with a fanfare greater in style. At the meeting, the president was again consistent in message. He could not hide his feelings, but lashed out at the lazy attitude of Gambians, which only subjects its development programs in the informal sector to the dominion of foreign workers. Gambian youth, the president says, will emerge from the cloak of indifference and out of the illusion of Europe is gold and Africa is dust. The president made it abundantly clear that he was not ready to sugarcoat the truth, but plans to say it as it is. But after years of massive investment in infrastructure, agriculture, and other socially development-oriented programs, the demands are now fewer and the issues have remained the same. They may evolve over time from needs to wants, but for now the region enjoys a world-class road network and other infrastructural development. The youths and the women have been direct targets of this development initiative, but with youth still found fault in the mismanagement of government's investment in the fisheries sector and other funded projects, the clue is for them to strive harder for the proper upkeep of the president's recent donation in the form of tractors. Abdinjai, KRCS.
The people of Banjul have now taken ownership of disaster management initiatives in the city. The new level of commitment on the part of Banjulians was manifested during a recent visit to disaster-prone areas in the capital city by members of the National Disaster Governing Council. We have more in this report. Members of the Disaster Governing Council, headed by the Ministers of the Interior, Forestry and the Environment, on behalf of the Vice President, started their tour of disaster hotspots in Banjul. At Tobacco Road, a new system has been developed on the underground canal. This development, officials say, is a temporal measure to ensure that water does not stagnate in people's homes.
This whole plan is designed in threefold. Okay. Number one is the cleaning of the city drains, which captures rainwater from the streets and the compounds that runs off into the internal drainage. Okay. That's one component of it. But the outlets where the internal drains emptied were also blocked. So that is why we decided to unblock all the drains and the external drains into the sea so that it can capture the runoff water from the internal drains. So both have been done.
Recommendations as to how to minimize disaster in these areas were earlier made. One of them was the clearing of the drains, especially in Banjul. After being mobilized by the councillors in the area, youths in Banjul are now taking the initiative in their own hands. For the capital city's disaster coordinator, ownership is the key to developments of this nature.
At the municipal level, we do our best to mobilize resources to help them do their work that they are taking right now. Okay. Yeah, in fact, this has brought us an opportunity to work with one Japanese grant through the Japanese embassy in Dakar, okay. And they have promised us to, provide us with pumping machines, about 5 pumping machines. And then I brought them here the other time when they visited the Gambia, and they said they will be doing their effort also to see how best they can help in the pumping station.
At Perseverance, Lancaster, and from Hill Street to the main drain, the tour party witnessed the cleaning of drains that have never been opened since their construction some 6 years ago. This activity will allow all the waterways connected to the main drain to flow easily.
We've gone round and then we have seen that all the outlets have been redredged and then they are open. Yeah. And we have seen that the communities of Banjul have already come out to clean all the drains, those are the inlets, and those ones, if they are clean, it means smooth evacuation of stormwater drain into the outlets for onwards transmission into the stream. I think it's a good intervention, and then we have to thank the disaster agency with the council and the people of Banjul.
The last spot in Banjul to be visited by the tour party was the pumping station in Bond Road. A team of men are stationed at this site to monitor the water during either low or high tides. This will determine the need for the canals to be opened or closed. Minister Jato Sila is impressed with the development in Banjul.
It's very promising that this year we will not have disaster impacts, negative impacts like that of last year. If we start, you have seen Banjul, the whole Banjul is coming up. The Banjul is coming up now to clean their drainage. The youths have organized themselves to clean all the drainages of Banjul at their own cost, at their own level, which is a real positive reaction to last year's flood, and as well a real positive reaction to awareness.
With progress being made in the capital city, there is concern that the stretch of the canal is not directly connected to the main outlet. Officials hope that the water will flow directly into the swamps and not the community. It is also hoped that other areas in the country will emulate the moves made in Banjul and take ownership of what officials say is in their best interest. The ministers and entourage later proceeded to Latrikunda, German and other areas. For GRTS News, I am Aissatou Dabo. After a visit to 5 disaster-prone areas in Banjul, the tour party of the National Disaster Governing Council visited Telinding, Latrikunda, German, Ibo Town and Budung. As we hear in this report, a preventive mechanism that is being introduced in most of these areas is waterways for the easy passage of water when it rains. From Banjul, the tour party of the Disaster Governing Council proceeded to Latrikunda, German. There, concerns were raised over a place that looked like a dump site. Due to that problem, water has been back flowing after it diverted its course. The councillor of the area informed the visiting team that the contractor failed to finish his job, but the rubbish will be cleared before the end of the week. The councillor of the area was asked to mobilize the youths to clear another part of the area, which is a lowland. The problem here is that when the gutters are full, the surrounding environments, especially the homes right next to it, are affected the most. Bundung Bohol was the next port of call. The bridge, believed to have been built during the time of the First Republic, is affected by the heavy downpour of the past rains. Engineers are working out ways and means of saving the bridge. The area is being cleared to create a passage for the water. The route is also being extended 300 meters upstream to save people from the difficulty they experience getting to their homes. The Minister of Forestry and the Environment noted that the buildings marked on the waterways will eventually have to move.
When we come to Serakun KMC, we advise them to do the same. There are areas where we still have some questions that to be answered, but generally I would say the whole work is very impressive.
From Telinding to Ibo Town, the tour party visited various areas, including a family that was recently affected by the second rains in the Greater Banjul area. There is a dam constructed at a place where the water from the newly constructed buffer zone road right down to the stream is supposed to flow. Officials do not know who ordered the construction of the dam, but are on the verge of investigating the matter.
We do some of these works, intervention works, but it is always good to have a fair idea of the brief history of what the area was before, so that when you intervene, you will be able to know what impact it has made. And like I said earlier on, we've just started some of these intervention works. It is until when the rain comes, then we will be able to gauge our success, because then we will be able to know whether what we've designed it to do is really doing that. Because like during the last rains, I was outside, and what I saw was very impressive, because most of the places I visited, we've registered a lot of success. And I believe it would be same for all the other intervention areas.
Some of these problems locals blame on improper road planning, but majority of the members of the tour party believe that is not the issue. Some of these problems, they say, can be solved by people not settling in swamps or areas that are flood prone.